snow coming down on him, making him look even older. Oh, there you go. Wow.
Making him look even older as we come back here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman Ben Hamin, YouTube channel Infidels for your Ultra Kayfabe Declassified Friday locker room taped here on Thursday, Infidels, because we'll be out in Jersey puffing Hershey. Brothers ain't worthy to rock my jersey, Infidels. And that's right, we're coming back strong after a big AEW night. The winter is finally here. So get your hat and gloves on because we're about to shovel some shit, some snow, whatever it needs to be. It's the Friday locker room. Big Stevie Cool, Hacker Hamin. Yalla. Steve Areno, we're back. It was a good Horseman last night, because time went by quick. Those are the always hot shows. So glad to be back this morning. A little light snow last night. I made it through most of AEW and be back later this afternoon with Silvio and MSG to talk all about it. But thanks for joining me again this morning after we're just plowing through, man. Just plowing through these shows, bro.
Yeah, it's I actually I'm not going to get right into it now. Yeah, actually, when you say winter is coming with the AEW thing, that kind of like struck me just now with the Biden dark winter thing. Do you think there's any kind of predictive program messaging within that?
There could be. It could be a whole marketing thing where they're going to take that winter is coming tagline from Game of Thrones and start applying it as just like, we told you bad shit's gonna happen, so we warned you, and it was digestible because our marketing pros said people like Game of Thrones, and that's a catchphrase we can use, but we'll put our own spin on it. So they think about White Walkers and things like that. But the reality is we're gonna fuck them out of more tax money.
Here's breaking news. Off of what we talked about on the Horseman. Former presidents Obama, Bush, and Clinton volunteered to get coronavirus vaccine publicly to prove it's safe. By the way, they're back to using coronavirus. CNN is now saying it's China's fault that they lied. A complete 180, but retractable needle time, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. You think Willie's going to get stuck in front of anybody? No way, dude. Not unless it's to make sure that he can get more pussy on the side. So it's just, and Obama can have all the hot dogs he wants. It's all bullshit theater, the absurd. And if you didn't listen to Conspiracy Horseman, we covered this last night. There have been stooge reports where they are showing, much like when you were a little kid and had the retractable knife and you thought it was funny to fake stab people in third grade, they're doing the exact same thing with retractable syringe, exactly for this type of theater of the absurd. So the Nancy Browns who were the fucking Obama supporters of the day they die and could do no wrong and don't even know that he's a CIA op fully raised under the Bush regime, all this bullshit that his parents are complete CIA operatives. These Nancy Brown cunts don't know anything about that shit. And then they'll watch him put a fake needle in his arm and it'll retract like anything from a shitbox magic store, and they will all be fucking hooked Penn and Teller style, and they'll all be out to the races to fucking get their kids back in school because Obama did it. And then remember when his wife did the Dougie at our fucking school? Oh, they were great people. I long for those days. They could never do anything to hurt me. They would never do anything to hurt the American people. And here the fuck we are with a mountain of retards ready to line up.
Well, speaking of that word, because most of them are based in elitist, Illuminati, Masonry, whatever it might be, they have to show you in some way there's going to be an Easter egg within these videos, within this theater, this vaccine theater, of proving the needles are retractable. They have to throw that in there, and it's up to us, which obviously we'll see it if it's there. Other people will, well, why would they use that? Why would they lie to us? This is the double speak and double think that you talked about that's been around pre 9/11. Why would the government lie to us? Why would the government lie to us? But we know that they're stealing money from us, and they know they don't use the taxes. We know politicians lie. We know governments lie. We know it's all a work, but why would they lie to us? Two opposing ideas within your same mind.
Opposing. and you still go along with it. That's the definition of mind control and how they do it. And they want it that way. A Society 858, Obama's exposed himself as a puppet master in the last month. I've been saying this. What do you think they're more dangerous in office in the public eye or after they go out of office? And they can all collude together, from George Bush to Dick Cheney to Obama to fucking Clintons. The pictures are there. They all operate in the same circles, whether it's Bohemian Grove or they're sending somebody to Bilderberg or to the meetings that aren't even in the public knowledge. And they got to go. They just
I just saw what you may not believe it if the former presidents get the vaccine. But what if your favorite YouTube or Instagram influencer? What if Logan Paul and Jake Paul and these people get that? They're a lot more influential than any president. People can't even put outside of Trump and maybe Biden. There was that man on the street interview before. I think Mark Dice had done it. They couldn't name the current president. They couldn't name who the vice president was, who's in line if the president something happens. They couldn't even name the House and the Senate, like that they existed. So I doubt that the presidents or anybody in office are going to do that. And unless it's Biden, here's my call. Biden on Inauguration Day and Kamala Harris will get the vaccine.
I wouldn't doubt it. Well, it'll look like they got the vaccine, but they didn't get shit.
There'll be some adrenochrome in there. There will be some. If it's not retractable, it'll be something that will keep him going another 30 days.
I feel better already, he says. Insanity last night as it all falls down. We cover a lot on Conspiracy Horsemen, flipping around even just to break Sal with the Elliot Page stuff and whatnot. But to me, it's SOS, the same old shit. Never changes. And you guys know it. You're here 27 strong, so we're not telling you anything you haven't heard before. But boy, those Mark Dice pieces, those Man on the Street in Venice, they just do show that. I hate to sound elitist by any means, but the Horsemen and the Hamin Media Group, we're just cut from a different part of the fucking steak compared to these fucking people who don't even know that. Like, I forget about those Man on the Street things where it shows the ignorance of the common man, and we're far from the common man at this point. There's a divide from those who understand reality and those who are just lost in a fucking reality show, White Claw, fucking whirlwind of fucking trash that surrounds them, and they're so easily influenced where it's almost like a division in humanity, to be honest with you.
It makes me fear for people I care and love about, like you, my wife, Sal, popping on everybody, that we may become victims or martyrs in some way. And I'm not being over dramatic by saying that, because the vitriol that people have for somebody that appears to be smarter, or even if it's the old Adam Carolla story. It used to be when you saw, a father and a son saw somebody driving by their house, a neighbor got a brand new Cadillac. And it's like, son, if you work hard, or daughter, if you work hard, you can have that one day. That's the way it used to be. Your dad probably said that to you. If you work your ass off, you can be like that guy or that girl or that family. Now it's like, look at that motherfucker with the brand new car. Let's burn it down and break the windows. How dare he do better than us? He's making me feel bad with his success, with his intelligence. So now we need to destroy him. That's the real fear of society. On the other end of it, conspiracy theorists, people that think when you think you're smart, you're a dumb motherfucker. When you think you're smart enough, we saw it. Like we talked about it in the chat. People that think they're too smart and can never get worked are exactly the people that can get worked. We keep ourselves and each other in check. Never thought of that. How many times have we said that? Wow. Never thought of it that way. How many other conspiracy theorists are the people that think they're smart enough to never learn anything again? They're even worse than Nancy Brown.
100%, dude.
Look at wrestling. We're going to talk about it. How many people with Vince, Bruce, even Khan and AEW, and these people are just feeling themselves a little bit too much. And it's exactly when your product is going to get fucking destroyed.
Absolutely. On Patreon, .com/Hamin Media Group and the Culture Vulture tier. I'm putting up probably 3 a week so people can keep up with them. I just started doing it this week on there. But what I have on in the background, whether it's Sun Tzu, Art of War, Cliff Notes, How to Apply, but I was listening to Marcus Aurelius's Stoicism, the 10 takeaways. And if you don't know who Marcus Aurelius is, slightly a character in Gladiator, the old king that dies, former emperor of Rome, I think 130 AD or BC. I can't remember.
He was in the beginning of the movie with
yes,
with Russell Crowe.
Right. He's the one who passes on to Crow instead of Hairlip. And so the Joker gets pissed off. But Marcus Aurelius looked back as one of the greatest rulers and thinkers of all time, and also a pioneer of Stoicism and taking self-inventory of the future, present, and your past and the journey of what's come along. And that will keep you grounded and the ability to see much more clearly. And what you just described, none of them practiced any Stoicism whatsoever. And that's why they will never be emperor of Rome. And they will never, and their names will never echo through eternity.
Let me ask you a question, because I was seeing a lot of news, and we're not leaning towards Trump and all this stuff, and we're not Trumpers, or we know it's all a work on both sides. It's political, and it's also the theater of control and invasion of privacy in 1984. It's a wrestling show we're watching. It's just easy to see the work. I saw yesterday that General Flynn was calling for martial law, and then there were some hints of martial law on the Republican side. Technically, listen, if you have to be home by 10 p.m. and get out of the restaurants and be home because of COVID, we've been under what I call medical martial law since March. So let's not kid ourselves like we thought it would be like the siege with tanks rolling down the street, which, by the way, will probably come. We've already been under martial law. So please stop thinking that we haven't been free in a very long time.
No. And how long are they going to push it? Wait till you go back to your Buffalo Bills games, and you can only get in if they shove the needle in your arm and you're half in the bag, and it just becomes the popular thing to do. And then there'll be a 15% class who say, get the fuck out of here. And then are you going to start chasing them through the streets, fucking handcuffing them, jabbing a needle in their ass and setting them free in a catch and release program?
Yeah. Well, 200 million doses are ready to be delivered by the military. That's a Trump thing once again. That's not a Biden thing. 200
million bullets are ready to be delivered by the American people too, who are ready to fucking go.
I plead the fifth if it still exists. I want to talk about this too, because it's something I try on the morning warm-up. I try to give a positive message. I try to give people strength and empowerment to this. I want to let you know the positive, the slight positive, or the temporary positive in all this. You're just going to save money from going to a shitty football game that you can watch on TV for free. You're not going to have to eat out anymore. You can save your money and do something with it, or invest in your own self-reliance for the day that Walmart requires the vaccine with the Luciferian glow in the dark blood thing. I mean, that, dude, can you just like beat us over the head with the Satanic Bible while you're at it? I mean, you're letting us know everything, and it doesn't matter if you think or believe Lucifer exists, Jesus exists, God exists, or whatever. The fact, and I said it before, maybe kids' blood or adrenochrome doesn't stop the aging process. Maybe all these things that we talk about on Conspiracy Horsemen are not real. But the dangerous part in it is that they believe it's real and they're acting on it. Doesn't matter. Perception is reality to them.
You have some people in power, whoever's in charge of that program at MIT that's making Luciferon to put into a vaccine should be easy to find. Some tenured professors who are connected into the CIA, you sit them down and start smashing their hands with hammers. It's easy things to do to get them to stop this and roll over.
I know 4 guys that'll do it for you.
Yeah, and roll over and fucking, and then expose the next level. And then you put those people on the run. And this is how you get the dominoes to fall. And there's the complacency and whatever it is with the bread and circuses was they're going to bring it back again. And these 85% idiots are going to push us into this realm. it's gotta end. And what does it look like coming? And then I even see here's the split. Biden says his stimulus package is ready to go. So let's get him in the office so we can get the money out there. That's what they're trying to do. Rush one through to get the check out. And once you pay the check, he won, he gave him money. But then right on the heels of that, half the amount of what the Republican stimulus plan is. So a quick payout because they know the fucking coffers are empty. They're going to give it to you. Then they're going to take it right back April 15th. And if at a higher rate as well. Mm-hmm. So these little shell games that they're playing on the corner of 42nd Street, like that might be for some fucking bumpkin motherfuckers, but we see you a mile away. So, the fact that they're even trying to play that game, cut their hands off, take her right out and cut their fucking hands. And that's not proverbial. Let's see it. Like you want to get Saudi with it because that's what they're pushing it towards. You know what I mean? They're pushing it towards a royal family versus us mentality. We need to flip that shit on them. And there's this theater of the absurd. Partaking in it is the worst exercise because that's when they know they got you, not the outcome. When you start just playing by their rules, you're in a whole different game now. You've said, forget reality. I'm going over here to absurdity and I'll play that game because they want me to. Oof.
Yeah, I agree with everything. And you knew I would eventually.
I hate the fact that we have to talk violence, but instead of simulated violence, but these 74-year-olds have gotten away with it far too long that their egos are inflated to a psychotic level. They're full blown psychosis. And they just got to be shown that they're nothing but soft goo bag humans once fucking again and can easily be fucking ended.
Maybe we can just get some of these professional wrestlers to start hitting them with their work punches, and they'll hurt every one of them.
That could be it. Naya for Senate. Fuck, man. Starting it off hot as we can here to get the day lit on Thursday. A lot of production going down everywhere. Stevie Richards Fitness, Stevie Richards Channel, Hamin Media Group, the Patreon, Russo's Brand. Free month at Russo's Brand. We're really asking you guys. We're going to do a big Twitter bomb next week, and there'll be more info coming on that. But if you got friends who are wrestling fans or even would like this type of commentary, even more, it's not just wrestling on Russo's Brand. There's plenty of shows about race, and there's plenty of shows about other entertainment factors and music. So it's a free month. So if you haven't signed up, go over there and do it. And please share it with about 5 of your friends and family members because we're trying to really increase that. And you guys are such great diehard supporters. We're trying to turn our supporters into our advocates. And a lot of you guys do that already. So I want to say thank you. You know who you are. You're the heavy hitters, the propaganda spreaders. But now let's try and increase the fold and take some of that Meltzer, Seltzer, and Alvarez fan base that has been propagandized to for so long that they don't know up from down either when they can get the real truth right here at Hamin Media Group and at Russo's Brand, you guys. So appreciate anybody who can, say, hey man, come check this out. It's a free month. They're not going to not like it, and Master Shoot Theater was a hell of a lot of fun this week. So if you're a Russo subscriber and you're not paying this month, check out take $3, check out Master Shoot Theater, and I guarantee you'll be hooked on it. We had a lot of fun with it, Stevie.
The whole thing with that too, just imagine this, everybody, during your free month, I want you to compare, even if you get free clips from YouTube from Meltzer and Alvarez or any other podcast that talks about wrestling, and then you compare it to some of if you get the free month, or even if you go up to Russo's YouTube channel, where Ben and I put up the clips, especially from 8 days a week, if you want to listen to that or watch that in full on the YouTube channel. It's great. And I can't tell you, from somebody that's been in every wrestling company, especially WWE, for almost 10 years, to actually wake up every morning and know that you can actually talk about your opinion, your educated opinion, even sometimes take the chance on an uneducated opinion, and then as episodes roll along, become educated. And like I said earlier, I didn't think of it that way between Ben and Russo, Papadon, Sal, or anybody through the Russo Brand or Hamin Media Group. Just imagine the fact that you're listening or watching, consuming content where nobody's beholden to anything. Nobody has to, literally, no pun intended, with past gimmick, nobody has to censor themselves or think about what they have to say because they have to navigate a minefield politically or wait for the call. You can interpret that as bitter if you want or whatever. I interpret it as the most free I've ever felt in my life and the most value and fulfillment and the most worth. So we feel that way, delivering that to you unapologetically, with no asterisk, with no agenda, no anything. I mean, I truly say that. That's the only thing. The wrestling, I mean, it kills me to watch it, but the thing every week, it's like I was not crazy for having the opinions and thoughts and the perspective on these places that I worked. Now I know I'm not crazy, and it's freed me in such a way to really depend upon myself and not wait for the call. There's so many different layers to that. So it's just shows, it's just things, it's just kind of, stuff you don't hear on our podcast, but think about it a little deeper on what we're giving you, what we're all getting out of this experience, and a lot cheaper than $12 a month.
True free speech, one of the last bastions for it. You never thought a wrestling podcast network would have to be the beacon of light of unabashed truth speaking or hearing both sides, and not just the names that he just named. You think that Stevie Ray, Shane Douglas, Justin Credible, and Goldilocks are going to pull any punches? They're just as badass as anybody, man, and they don't give a shit because they're not beholden either.
Even Vito and Noel and their perspective.
Absolutely. Everybody there is really doing the real work right now. And it's unbelievable that we got into this to do phony play wrestling and that now we're the voice of truth.
I want to say one more thing about that.
Super proud. It's just like, that's a fucking how did we get here? Unbelievable.
Here's the thing you have to, I said it on the morning warm up this morning, think different. People might think it has the Apple connotation to it, which that's the original marketing campaign, but Russo started something completely different. And everybody, and this is a saying I want you to think about it anytime you think, and the saying, and I didn't say it on the show, Ben, but I'll say it now. If it feels weird, keep doing it. That's the saying from you that I'll always stick with me.
If it feels weird, do it more.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be first to be second. Russo, now time is vindicating Russo more and more as time goes on. But the toughest years were when he was first to be first with this content. But history is now vindicating him. Time is vindicating him. That's the hardest thing in anything you do. Even just this little home gym over here where my wife still gets scoffed at and kind of laughed at sometimes. Like, you let your husband take over the entire house with a gym? Oh, okay. Well, you go trust Planet Fitness to stay open, or Gold's or LA Fitness, and let me know how that's working out for you. Go to Craigslist, get price gouge. Our equipment's cheaper and even better quality. That's the mindset of being first to be first. You're going to go through maybe months or years of pain, but then you're going to look and say, everybody
way ahead of the curve.
Even Swinger, I'll say, for everything, Swinger's just in the bubble. He's one of my best friends. He's in the bubble, though, of wrestling, where you talk yourself out of anything empowering, or you think about The Office. And I remember the first time I told this story because it's so funny. Mm-hmm. The first time I was going to email Force USA for the MyRack, because I was like, that's weird. You can configure the thing 100 different ways. That's friggin' cool. And I talked to him. I go, I'm going to email this company and see if they'll send me this rack to start reviewing or whatever. He's like, nah, man, don't even bother it. I mean, they're just going to say no. Why would they get, he didn't mean anything by it, but that's the boys of the being institutionalized and in the bubble. And if I didn't send that email and I didn't follow up with a phone call and I didn't communicate, where would my affiliate business be today? It would be non-existent. So sometimes even your friends, you might have to just buck the trend, and I'll show you, you'll see, and be spiteful with it.
You do. And in fact, if you're getting that kind of blowback, you shouldn't have an emotional reaction like, oh, dude, why aren't you on my team? You should go, okay, that I'm going to take that negativity and that should set something off to go, there's something the opposite way, because that got them to react a certain way. That means there's opportunity over there. And instead of jumping on that side of the fence, turn a 180 and go. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with first single step, right? And that's what that email is. And who knows what the journey is, where you might be part owner in one of these companies down the road based on what you've done working your ass off the last 3 years. I see the chat room's filled up 36 strong, and a lot of people saying they are multi-year Russo's brand members, and we want to really appreciate you guys to help build that foundation through everything. And we've been trying to do, offering more and more for your value and your loyalty, whether it's the Discord, extra videos, live video chats with Vince and us, watch alongs, all that kind of stuff, man. So we hope you're enjoying it, and we're always open to suggestions for new creative ventures that you guys enjoy that we might have a blind spot for. So thank you for interacting everywhere, but be ready, because your terror cell's about to get greenlit next week, infidels, and we're going to put the full marketing press on and use all of our strength as a brand together to shake up the world a little bit. There's no reason why we shouldn't be.
Hey, somebody said in the chat room, companies will definitely send free stuff to famous people. I'll let you know, most of the companies I work with don't even know I ever wrestled. Yeah. I never put that over. I put myself over as a home gym fitness enthusiast, and I don't even put over the Stevie Richards fitness brand with the resistance band programs. So I know it's a true litmus test and not the wrestling crutch.
And not necessarily, I mean, that helps that he's beautiful, jacked, and a former celebrity. I'm not. Here's 2 years of, I got 2 years of beard oil and product upstairs for free. So that's not always the way. And in fact, Stevie does the other. Oh, I'm not a professional on something. Everyone wants to, oh, I'm a pro and I'll review your shit because I'm over. Stevie takes the opposite. I'm a novice at outdoor survivalist stuff. I'd like to learn more about it, and I'd like to do videos from a novice viewpoint. Being a babe in the woods can be an advantage over everybody else who's a master knife man asshole, or, you know, like the 60 people who are great at 3D printing. So you're going to watch their video all the time. Well, maybe you need somebody at a kid level to learn it at that level too. So there's all types of ways to spin it, man. Don't pigeon. My point is, don't pigeonhole yourself into say, because I'm a novice, I can't. Because I'm a novice is the opportunity to present yourself that way and do a teaching and training video to increase your knowledge in real time, where somebody else watching it is probably at that same level. So it's all about the spin you want to put on it and look through it through a positivity lens. In every weakness, there's an opportunity to make a strength. In every threat to your success, there's an opportunity to create a strategy for defense or to end around and do that. And once you start doing that, you're taking negative factors and turning it into positive factors.
And Frank said he didn't need it as a negative to me. And no, I want to take the negative away from you. Sounds real cliche, but that's the negativity you withhold, and then the comparison of thief of joy, all this other stuff. Everybody's got something unique and interesting to offer. I didn't take offense to it. I'm pointing out that I don't want you to think that way about yourself, that you're less than me to get that stuff. Anybody can do it, man. All you got to do is just, what's the matter? You send a freaking email out and they don't answer. Wait, they're not going to punch you through the computer. What's the worst? I've gotten no way more than yes. It doesn't affect me. Move on. Move on with it.
If there's something you want, like beard product or what have you, I wrote one email, swapped it out with 7 different companies that I identified as competitors who were up and coming, and 2 of them answered me back and sent free product. So all you have to do is write the form email, identify the companies that you want to work with, and swap it out, and maybe change a little vernacular here and there, and then you never know what's going to come back to you.
Where'd you get that template from?
The magic email. And we're magically at 42 strong here. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. They told us at Twitch, I think are we on this Wednesday again? Or are we on today?
I think it's now. I don't know. No. I think it's next Wednesday after this one, because we were there right before the holiday. Right. Feels like 2 weeks ago.
I know. 3 to 4:30 Wednesdays. We're on Twitch.tv sports page with Vince. Front page, we had about 2,000 live viewers. So we're trying to, capitalize on that as well, you guys. and appreciate it. They told us at Twitch to let you know you can hook your Twitch account up to Amazon Prime and subscribe once a month. I think you get a free subscription. So we'd love to have you subscribe here at the Conspiracy Horseman channel, or at Russo's brand, or at the Horror Junkyard, or at Stevie's channel as well, or at Stevie Ray TV. If you're a brand loyalist and you want to, every month, I don't know, some people do that. I don't expect in the crossover audience, I'm going to go, oh, let me spend all my money here. Some people do Russo for a month. Some people are doing Patreon, Hamin Media Group. So, and that's cool, man. Like, we know times are tough, and I'm not here to fleece you. We believe in free and independent media, but on some of our paid stuff, people jump around, and that's awesome. We're trying to get more through that Twitch main page. So hang out with us there next Wednesday and try and recruit some with us. We'd appreciate that. And if you want to sign up with your free Twitch account through Amazon Prime, that'd be awesome too. So yeah, a lot to the hits and bit cheers this morning as well. Big Steve Areno, not a ton of headlines, so I'm kind of pumped that we can get in and get out about it. But you wanted to do the real talk beforehand, then I guess we got to go. Louis Louis, oh baby, we got to go.
Wherever you want to start, there seems to be many segments of real talk in this.
That the whole Louis DDP Cody thing kind of blew up and then got snuffed out. But word on the street is that he got hit with a cease and desist order before he was supposed to go and do something on Russo brand. And, I don't know, I'm sure he signed an NDA at DDP, and that's why they can come over the top on him. But doesn't seem like the behavior of people with nothing to hide,
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I only have so much energy in the day. Mm-hmm. And I don't speak a whole lot about my time there, but it was a very chaotic environment, and a lot of times things that required maybe a 5-minute little, hey, what do you think of this or whatever, they spent hours. And this Louis thing, according to what we see with the timeline, before their meetings or whatever they had about him, after the tweets or after he left or they fired him, whatever we don't even know what happened there. This was at least Thanksgiving until the afternoon of Russo's show, which would have been later that night with Louis, right? Yeah. So we're talking about a full week of scramble the jet fighters and all that stuff.
Yeah, over a guy who is a marginalized mark, but has some ideas. And, again, going back through his tweets, he exposes himself as whatever he is. I don't know.
Well, there's a business model to that too that we can discuss.
Mm-hmm.
There's a particular business model. You think why would they hire a guy like that? It's actually pretty smart business on their part. Go ahead, whatever you want.
No, because they can control him, scare him, intimidate him. And then even when he comes out of the woodwork, it's still kind of mealy mouth to make it look like he's the victim in this SJW shit. But, it all falls down behind the scenes. Like, instead of just blowing it off, they've probably wasted a week with their hair on fire behind the scenes on how they're going to marginalize this guy. And for what reason? Why not just do good business out of the gate? That's what I suggest. And if somebody's talking about sucking Cody's cock, you pull him aside, you fire him and say, that shit's not fucking acceptable here. And then they look a certain way instead of move him into the other room, but we'll get more out of him. We'll keep him around and do these little secret things and back and forth. And then it becomes drama, which wrestlers love. They want that self-induced.
Not all wrestlers love it.
Not all, but some of them do want to create a locker room environment like that where somebody's the low man on the scrotum pole and you can fucking work them and it becomes a little rib and then in and out. And then these situations arise out of it and they have to do damage control because they didn't do biz the right way out of the gate. So you get what you pay for. And if you're going to pay for Mark neckbeards who are antisocial, who don't know how to fucking interact with superstars, but you're going to work them because they can do video editing at a low price, well, that's fine. But the karma that you put into it and treating them some kind of way is going to come back around. And now it has. Maybe it might not get the shine that they had hoped that it might, or might not. but their moves behind the scenes with cease and desist and all that, that's what they're wasting their time on. To me, that shows there's a lot more to the way things are run, with a smile on the front end, but behind the scenes, it's a fucking toxic way to do business, in my opinion.
It's fascinating too, because from what I've seen, because we shared the thread in the chat, that initial thing was like, okay, well, these pages and pages of what he's saying, okay, I get it. But then it's almost like, and I'm saying there's no innocent parties here, so everybody thinks that Louis is an absolute victim. He was squeezing that 15 minutes of fame, because he would answer I watched it because I was fascinated, because I was like, how much this guy is just sitting there hitting refresh or auto refresh to reply to tweets that are even the ones that were saying that, hey, way back you said this word, or you did this or whatever, or tweeted this tweet. He would, I mean, I'm just like, it was maddening. Once again, you only have so much energy in the day, and here's this guy relishing in the interaction, and will hang on to this fame. Negative as it might be, people were paying attention to him.
Mm-hmm.
And being that flawed individual, allegedly flawed individual, you don't think that they looked at that and said, we can treat this guy any way we want, we can do whatever we want, we can say whatever we want. And then when he finally does get tired of it, maybe these words were never spoken, but it's a sometimes an unspoken thing. When he goes, who's going to believe him? Who's going to believe him? What credibility? Because he has very little to no credibility. Let's be honest.
And he blew his own credibility, and who knows who else he blew. But if he would have just,
man,
yeah, if he would have just fucking cut that first promo and left it there, let it hit, shut down the Twitter after that, but instead instantly hooked on his own little celebrity, instantly hooked on his own little spotlight.
Which is why he started working there.
Yeah, absolutely. And not trying to put the dude over of being anything
what the hell?
Clueless Mark or fanboy. But now everybody who's got dirty hands in this is exposed to some degree, without ever getting the real truth from the DDP side, because they'll never cut a fucking PR statement to put him over. But the knowledge we have, or that the Sheets gets, is always going to be there. And it's the same old carny bullshit at the end of the day.
Like I said, I've said it to you in the chat. I think I said it here a couple of times. If I didn't experience the things I experienced there for the time, or the environment that I witnessed, Stevie Richards Fitness and what we have and what I appreciate, as I said earlier, would not exist, because that's the same thing too. Louis or anybody else that works there or has worked there, and you put in the AEW thing, now it's double weaponized hope right there. And you used to sit there going, what can I say? What can I do? And you're literally going to somebody else for approval, who, quite frankly, you're not even on the top 10 of their priority. And they'll just tell you no anyway, because it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission in most cases. It was a very toxic environment. That's all I'll say about it, but I'm thankful for it. I really am. It doesn't seem like it when I was there, but that it taught me how I don't, he can call me or text me or yell at me or say believe it or not, my name is, I'm persona non grata. If Will or anybody else that works there even mentions that they talked or text me, they're forbidden from doing it. They get the riot act. Why are you talking to that guy? But that's kind of like I'm a negative toxic influence on that. I'm always negative, because that's what I'm known for, especially my hate speech filled tragedy show every morning.
How about this for the answer to that question? You talk to him. Why are you talking to him? Instead of, I'm sorry, I won't do that anymore, I'll go back to video editing on the kayfabe. My answer is, because he's a fucking good human being, and I can talk to whoever the fuck I want to. So stop getting in my fucking face, treat me like a marked piece of shit. I'll talk to whoever I want to. Is there a problem with my video editing? No. Okay. Thanks for playing. Go back and do some downward dogs and smile some more. Like we get to a point where they're working these marks or working Will or whoever out of fear, instead of just turning and going, I'll talk to whoever the fuck I want to talk to. Is there a problem with that? And then what do they say? Yeah, there's a problem that,
that's where the wrestling promoter type stuff come. No, there's not a problem, but then you'll slowly be, it's just the way it is. It very much resembles wrestling. That's why having a wrestling company in there is perfect.
But they're fans and they won't step it up, because if they wanted to and they go, no, everything will be fine. Talk to whoever you want and do that. I'd be like, cool. Boop, speakerphone. Hey, Stevie, you want to meet for lunch later today? Right the fuck in front of them. Let them sweat it more, because I'll stooge. I know you don't want to. We don't want to heat-wise to put any on Will or anybody like that. But the reason why they're hitting a cease and desist is because they're fucking sweating it the last week over there in their board meetings, worried about this neckbeard fatty who didn't lose a pound, who's stooging off his own suspect gay homosexual wants for Cody, as well as the abusive behind-the-scenes situation of how they treat their producers. Well, all that inclusive, what they're really terrified of is a guy who's got all the chops in the world and credibility, and you coming out and telling the real truth just like he did. And that's what they're most scared of. So that's why they hit a cease and desist on Russo brand. Not like we're pumped to hear some show that way that's going to only bring more heat from the AEW fans or anything that we have to deal with PR wise, but that's what they're truly scared of. Their past behaviors that to even high-level workers that are kayfabe, who now work with the biggest names in the business and could expose their bad behavior. Now we have to do a legal thing because of it. It's just more and more exposing of how the wrong way will get you in these situations. And they're terrified of what, in their own mind, paranoia, not that Stevie's ready to come out and drop bombs on anybody, but like in their mind, they're making it that way of how many times did I cross him? How hot is he at me? Da, da, da. We're so moved on. We're so moved on. Like, look what they focus on and look what we focus on. It tells the whole tale.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That's the thing. I didn't even think about this situation until the Louis thing actually did come up. And I feel for Will, because Will's a great kid. But let's face it, he's also a mark. He's also, let's tell it, he's a wrestling fan, and he doesn't work for AEW from what I understand. I don't really kind of converse with him, but he's not within that. And also that's something I knowing that he's Russo's son, my assumption is that it was Will's call. Like, hey man, you call my dad homophobic and all this stuff. I don't want to work with you. I would give Will that. He's not a pushover. He's got the Russo blood in him. He's not gonna roll on his dad for a wrestling promoter. Not gonna do that.
No.
He'll work within that. But think about how tough it is for Will to see a guy who's falsely accused his father of all these things, and he's got to see him in that, because they go to that building for a full-time production thing. It's no longer a yoga studio. It's basically AEW's production. Think about that. What if you had to show up every day? You got to give the kid that for being a father and a husband and wanting to provide for his family and being there. It can't be enjoyable. I wouldn't think it is.
The silent heat alone, the tension of, let's see what he does today. Da, 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 and
it could be something that not telling Will he has to go to another room, but also everybody else is moving to another room to stay away from Will.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're the pariah. These are all just assumptions on my part or speculation, but the human nature within the wrestling business is mirrored in this. And you got a guy that, imagine going to a locker room and like someone in the company is publicly insulting our wives, and we're in the locker room. We got to work for these people, and we've been there for years after the fact, and they come up, shake our hand, say hello to us every day, and we're like, that eats away at you as a man, in my opinion.
Sure. Well, I'll just flip the script on them and show them how fucking ridiculous they're being in their own actions and watch their face.
Inspiration.
Awesome. It's your headlines, infidels from prowrestling.com and Wrestle Stink. The big one, obviously, talked about. And
wait, you got to see this. Society, and according to Will, Cody apologized to Will but refused to apologize to Vince. Is that true? Like, what sense does that make?
I have no idea.
Because you know why? Because Will works within the building and he's right in his face. If Vince was right there, is he going to say, I'm not going to say I'm sorry that I lied about that? Like, no, that's a telling story right there, if that's true.
Yeah. And it's all the past of the Heat. Louis got the Heat and Louis out, but Louis may go do a show with Russo. Russo is partners with Stevie, and they're worried about what Louis might say on Russo's show. Russo's kid works in that studio, so now Will is the fucking linchpin in the chess game of Silent Heat as it moves back and forth. But meanwhile, our hot fired shot in the war is to cease and desist Louis. But then we have to babyface Will because we're worried about if it goes back and we upset Will, that it'll go back to Russo and Stevie will unload the fucking nuclear arsenal.
And the fact that they were mentioning their name and not promoting any of the products they're selling or saying that they're the best people in the world will infuriate them. Trust me, it will, because they just can't take that and they have to double down on something else or do whatever. And I understand that. Listen,
the big thing,
I don't think he makes millions of dollars a year still, even pandemic era. He's doing, and the guy worked his ass off. Let's not mix these two things. He worked his ass off. He was dyslexic. He had a learning disorder. He learned how to read. He learned how to wrestle at a late age. He reinvented himself better than anybody outside of The Rock. Even Austin hasn't reinvented himself as well as Page.
Mm-hmm.
He is a positive message no matter what we say in these stories. The events of his life, not the person, the events of his life are the most inspiring after wrestling, after entertainment, after any kind of career like sports, entertainment, or especially wrestling based, to prove that you can do even better and transcend wrestling after your career. So let's end it on that note.
I agree with that. I agree with that fully. To build an empire at that age is not an easy task, and especially when most people are ready to go play golf 7 more mornings a week. You know what I mean? Definitely. And a guy who definitely lived it and got to live in this business pretty much his whole life and influenced plenty is Pat Patterson, wrestling's first openly gay icon, dead at 79. It was with great difficulty that we report the passing of Pat Patterson, a trailblazer in the industry, one of professional wrestling's greatest legends. He was 79 years old at the time of his death. It would be an immense challenge to choose just one accolade that Patterson was best known for, boasting more than 6 decades of influence in the business. He was the first ever Intercontinental Champion, credited with the creation of the Royal Rumble, and one of the WWE's longest and that's one of the most beloved matches for many years, was considered the right-hand man of Vince McMahon himself. Born Pierre Clermont, I thought he was Polish, so I'm wrong. I thought he was in Montreal and was Polish, but French-Canadian, and Strangler Steve corrected me on that this morning in the chat, but he did sound Polish from Buffalo to me. He got his start in wrestling in the 1950s. He moved to Boston knowing little to no English, but expanded all over the U.S. through the 60s and 70s. In 79, he made his debut in McMahon's World Wrestling Federation as a heel for the top babyface champion at the time, and spent the rest of his career working for the company in one capacity or another. Patterson also considered himself to be the first openly gay professional wrestling superstar. His partner of more than 40 years, Louis Dondero, died of a heart attack in 1998. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family, friends of Pat Patterson. Rest in peace. From WrestleZone, author Mike Killam. Yeah, I mean, you saw everybody sharing their bits. I did. I'm kind of happy just in the last 2 weeks, some Pat Patterson on the AEW show where Silvio was explaining something in a finish, and then he said, boom, 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 and the whole place go banana. And I got to say, hold on a minute. Like, I know what that means, but Matt's there. I said, explain go banana. Matt's worked his ass off long enough here. He needs a little bit of inside info of what that means. So Sil tells, about Pat Patterson to the audience, and that why backstage when somebody says go banana, we just all understand what it means. And then last night on AEW and Moxley's promo, he said, now let's go banana, as like an inside thing for workers and high-level fans who might know that about Patterson. I love that kind of stuff, that we got to put that out before Pat passed away, and now in his wake, it just shows if there's one thing, Go Banana is gonna live in the wrestling world, forever. I like that kind of stuff. And whether it was the Stooges with him and Briscoe, or him as the pretty boy in the 70s and 80s, definitely a complete old school wrestler. And the Royal Rumble, my favorite. They've done a lot to it in the last 10 years to make it a spot fest. But when I was a kid, it was always Royal Rumble was my favorite thing every year, dude.
Yeah, Pat Patterson was without a doubt the best finish guy in the business.
Mm-hmm.
The best finish guy. And I had the opportunity and the honor to actually get a couple of finishes even on Stevie Night Heat, not because he came up to me. This is a lesson because, there's a lot of knowledge. There's a big hole in the industry. Obviously, people have tweeted that out and put it all over social media, and that's an understatement. But this is a message to younger wrestlers to please go up to people like Pat Patterson and people with a lot of knowledge and pass along that stuff to others. Because I had the opportunity to do it only because I would go up to Pat and ask him, and he almost looked shocked at certain points. And this is 15 years ago or whatever, however long, that any talent would ask those types of things, of him. He was willing to always help, willing to always add knowledge, and you just had to kind of shut the fuck up and listen and do exactly what he said, or else he'd never help you again. And he knew a little bit more than most of the guys on the roster. But on a larger level, obviously, he lost his partner, Louis, many years ago, and I don't think he ever got over that. I think there was a scene in the Legends house, right, where he spoke about that. Definitely in the documentary, the WWE DVD, right? He talked about Louis. So that kind of thing, too, where he lost that, and then he was no longer going into wrestling to be that guy, that creative mind. So I wonder, even though he died of cancer at 79, you wonder, it's like the old, guy that retires, does nothing, then a year later he's gone. Now, obviously, cancer is a whole different story or anything like that, but Pat never seemed to age or never seemed to slow down when he was in that creative environment. So I don't know, I hope he was around family and friends in the end. And obviously, I wouldn't doubt it if Vince was there.
Mm.
His most trusted right-hand man, and somebody that, I have no doubt Vince cared about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's things I was going to say the other day that I was like, that's not what you do when someone passes away, to give my opinion of how I felt about this, that, or the other. It's about the legacy and what they put forward and created. And then I also think about, all right, we might put McMahons and the politicians, or how we ever want to put them up here. But at the end of the day, I think about, my dude in my posse, my boy Big T, and he's just the gay uncle, and I love him like my brother. And that's exactly how it is to Shane, Stephanie, and Vince, regardless of who they are. That's in their family. I mean, that guy was there to watch all of them be born and held them, and while Vince is in the ring or doing whatever. And, that's their true close-knit family. And regardless of however we become billionaires or crazy with power, we are just all humans at the end of the day, and that's gotta fucking really hurt them, and I do feel empathy and bad for me, because I know what that loss is like, of somebody who's been with you for so long that way. So it's you'd be 79 years old, man. Right?
Which isn't really that old. I mean, I have no doubt if he didn't have he was very active golfing and getting outdoors and living an active lifestyle, even without wrestling. But the bigger thing is that cancer is a terrible, terrible disease. And I mean, I don't know why that's not being treated like a true pandemic over the past however many years or decades.
Way more money in the cure, or in the treatment. Yeah. But at the same time, if I was 79 and it's 2020 and I'm seeing wrestling where it is right now, and there's a COVID flu and my significant other's gone, I'd be like, 2020 was a sweet year to check out at 79. I'm almost looking forward to it,
Well, yeah, I mean, we made the joke too about anybody that dies this year. It's like Geez, you don't have to see where this fucking world's going.
Yeah, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
I did pop for Pat Buck's statement. He goes, Pat came up to me, Pat Patterson came up to me and said, what's your name? Your name Pat too? And he goes, yeah, Pat Buck. He goes, oh, that's what I keep hearing. He goes, I couldn't hear. I thought they were saying Pat fuck, and they were all mad at me for some reason. So when Pat Buck was getting over, he was confused about it, man. I think that's some funny old man shit right there.
Well, Pat's not Pat Buck. He just talks to Mike Johnson. But Pat Patterson's famous thing, and I loved it. It's like, those are the ribs in wrestling. Like you said, old man ribs and old man, like they just messing with you. Like, I don't like a lot of the ribs in the business because it just complicates things. But when Pat would come up and go, hey, you know who was just asking about you? And I was like, who? I knew the answer. Nobody. And he'd laugh and walk away. Like, you know, like it made his day. It made my day. Just the fact he wanted to pull the joke on me.
Sure.
That's cool.
That's a great little moment right there. It's harmless. I had guys like that. I just like that old man shit too. And I used to work for the county. Jake Rocker would do the fucking same thing. What the fuck was it? Oh fuck! He would get. I can't remember the line off the top of my head, but it was always fucking things like that about not doing work or something like that, about being late. But just little ribs, even though you'd be busting your ass, he'd still tune you up just a little bit. You know what I mean? If it was in your mouth, you wouldn't be talking about it. I can't fucking remember what the.
Guess
fuck.
what? That's gone from society too, because everybody's so easily offended.
Oh, absolutely.
You think if you went up to any of the SJWs that are in that locker room now and he said that, you think if you went up to Jordan Grace and said that, she wouldn't go right to management and say, I don't know how you would logically put that as a complaint to the office, but they would figure out a way.
So old Jake, he would go, I'd be like, hey, Jake, where's the sign or where's the shovel? He goes, it's up your ass. You'd know where it was. And then I fucking wait for it. Like, he'd get me with that at least once a week. Jake, have you seen the cone? It's up your ass. You'd know where it was. And then he was looking for something one day and I got him with it. It's up your ass. You know where it was. He goes, it was in your mouth. You wouldn't be talking about it.
Not today. You're going to jail.
We came right over the top, man. So good stuff. Shout out to the old birds, man. Rest in peace, dude. Thank you for all the innovation and all the moments of the 80s and 90s. Regardless of whatever goes on in this carny world, man, you provide a lot of people with entertainment that they didn't even know was from your mind. And that's one of the most selfless things that we can do as artists, directors, and creators. So I appreciate it. Backstage news. Well, let's see what's first before that. Oh, there we go. WWE announcers reportedly banned from using the term code breaker. According to Meltzer Seltzer, new phrase been banned by WWE, the double knee face breaker. It's been used by both Asuka and Ricochet in recent times, with the announcers pushing the term double knees when the move has been hit. However, fans obviously know it best as Jericho's finisher, the code breaker. According to Meltzer, WWE announcers are banned from using the phrase code breaker. Meltzer penned, Asuka made a hot tag and hit a code breaker, which, by the way, is a term announcers are banned from using. So, just more ridiculousness. In fact, if it was anything, I would use code breaker more, not because it references Jericho, but it makes it about the move when other people are doing it, and it makes it less special for Jericho. Jericho would, in fact, have to change his finisher or the name of it in order to do it, because everybody else would be using it and it just become commonplace. So really, in your not saying it, you're selling for it in a certain way.
Go back once again to how much energy do you have when there's a product that's fastly approaching a 1.0 in both their major billion-dollar licensing deals? You're worried about code breaker? Really? Hey, how about this? How about not a million code breakers or super kicks or dives? How about if you limit the actual number of moves instead of banning the name? How about if you teach your talent how to really work and have their own 5 moves of doom, which, by the way, the guy made tens of millions of dollars with 5 moves of doom, getting himself over. How about you do that? That would probably be, yeah, maybe this is a good little baby step, but I doubt it.
Look at this in the same mentality of what we talked about with Louis and DDP Yoga. Well, look what they waste their time on. They had meetings and edicts and stooge reports, and should we call it the code breaker? Are we putting them over? Are we selling for? That's what they're wasting their time on instead of improving their own product. It's just bad management all the way around, bro. That is not the type of corporate or creative environment that is conducive to success. That is only conducive to a quick F you where the karma will come back around and kick you in the ass once again.
Somebody had asked about anti-WWE with Meltzer. Well, we talked about it on Russo on Patreon. We showed the AEW payroll sheet from April.
Yeah.
So
he's on the payroll. What do you want? And that's like you usually go, oh, Meltzer's on the payroll. But let's talk about it, a bigger move. That is probably the smartest move that Khan has made in his entire launch of this. If you're going to appeal to a demographic that is solely internet dirt sheet readers, why wouldn't you put the money up, especially if you're a millionaire and you can blow $250,000 just on PR? You were going to spend it anyway. Khan was smart enough to go back in, do a kayfabe deal with all these dirt sheet writers to fucking have him be putting them over all the time. And I don't think he says, go out of your way to fuck over WWE. He just says, please put over our business and the good stuff that we're doing, and I'll pay you 30 to 80K a year. Okay, sure. And that's, dude, I don't fault them as like, that's so shady and not real. That's a fucking smart PR buy. And once you control the whole internet and your underground demographic for $250,000, then what? Then you're off to the races, and they're putting over everything you're doing as somewhat right or genius. They'll have to shit on a couple things, but they'll do it in a smiling 80 grand kind of way so it doesn't sting that bad. I think that's probably the smartest play I've seen out of AEW since their inception, to be honest with you.
The only thing that's smarter is Bischoff throwing the occasional criticism to give himself the credibility, even though he's obviously a TNT guy.
Throw it off. Yep. So
they all talk to each other. They got to be all time. I don't think Meltzer and Bischoff talk, but maybe they do, because that gets people talking. Like if Russo and Cornette were smart, they would be working this whole thing to try to both make money.
I tried to get it to there, and Cornette
the shoot is making them both money anyway, so I guess it works.
Hey, it could be making a lot more though, and that's the problem.
Not on Russo's side. You tried on the other end.
On the other end, yeah. Russo's like, yeah, I do whatever, and dude, I reached out. I fucking tried to play my OVW card, my Rip Rogers card, my fucking own intermediary, no agenda, nothing back. So, there's cowards. You cowards. Miro calls Kenny Omega a little bitch and calls Don Callis a fucking bald-headed guy after AEW Dynamite. AEW star Miro, formerly known as Rusev, recorded a short Twitch video following this week's episode of AEW Dynamite, which Kenny Omega defeated Moxley for the AEW Championship after receiving an assist from Impact Wrestling exec Don Callis. As noted, the show ended with Callis and Omega escaping Daly's place with the title, leaving in a waiting vehicle. Before the show went off the air, Callis told Alex Marvez that Omega would explain their actions next Tuesday on Impact Wrestling. In the video, Miro called Omega a little bitch and Callis a fucking bald-headed guy and bashed them for acting like cowards. We have a new champion, Kenny Omega. You're on my watch. I'm watching you. You ran away with the title like a little bitch and a fucking bald-headed guy who's got roses all over the ring. Who is that guy anyway? He continued, I mean, it doesn't matter. I would never run away like that. I've never run or hidden for anything in my life. I fight like a man should, or a woman should. Be a man, but do not be a chicken. Do not be a coward. So,
do you want to talk about the match? I'll comment real quick on that.
Go ahead.
If you saw the match and especially I saw the last 5-6 minutes, it makes no sense. There is no heel moment in this whole finish, but the Impact and AEW crossover thing, this is very interesting. And also there could be a mistake on AEW's part for doing this, because how does it benefit AEW? How many new eyes are they getting on their product? It's all Impact. And I wonder if AEW would be smart to probably maybe try to buy Impact and then have the second show for TNT because they have the talent. That could be another way of looking at it.
That's very interesting. I just go straight.
That's the only smart part of this segment, by the way. That's the only part that they might be smart about because nothing else was dog shit.
I mean, they come out and they're going to wrestle for 38 minutes. Okay, get your shit in, boys. And then in the last 10 minutes, we blow it. Once the babyface goes out and gets 2 chairs, and this is supposed to be like a back and forth, who's the best wrestler, and then we're going to do rundown spots. They build it up, and then they just go complete CZW shit with it. That's where Moxley and those guys still don't get it. They still didn't learn from Joey Mercury. They still didn't learn when they were on top. Like, if anything, that should have been a straight wrestling match to bring back Omega, to go over strong in the Japanese way. Instead, we do gaga, run-ins, shit all over the wrestling that we opened up with. None of the heat spots or working anything meant anything until we get our
heat spots. What heat spots are you talking about? Because here's what I watched. I'm watching it, and I'm interested just in this because I like what they did when there was a crowd way back. They did that match. I like that, but I'm watching it, and the announcers obviously have rehearsed talking points, and they're sticking to them no matter what happens, and that's what I have a problem with too. So what you have is Moxley, you said, with the chairs. So automatically he's kind of being a heel at that point. I didn't see that part. But he gives him the butterfly suplex into the heater. And they're doing the big X thing with the doctor with the 60-second concussion protocol, which I popped for. And he's hurt. So Don Callis is coming out and doing this whole thing. Moxley shoves a non-wrestler down on his ass to 2 heelish things, 3 counting the chairs. Then Kenny Omega gets retribution because he's provoked by hitting him with the microphone as the crowd is chanting Kenny, not piped in sound. It's the 1,000 people are chanting for Kenny Omega. Yeah, what you're doing is trying to get Kenny Omega over as a heel. Right. So he gets back from being provoked and getting his head knocked on the concrete floor after, being thrown into the heater. I mean, am I wrong so far? What's going on here?
Yeah, this should be Kenny Omega's triumphant return as the cleaner to go over strong, saying I'm back and this is what I've been waiting for.
Okay, but here's what happens. As he hits him with the microphone, Moxley's busted open. Good for you, motherfucker, for trying to hurt the guy. That's my initial thought as a fan. You get what you deserve. And you said there's chairs, so he really got what he deserved. Mm-hmm. Then Kenny comes, and as much, it was just kind of cool to see all the V-triggers, all the knees, the way he did it. That was a cool spot. Did you hear what I said? That was a cool spot, a cool series, and cool expecting him to be a heel.
Yeah, it's not what heels do. We don't do cool spots.
Okay, so going back to the Callis thing, Moxley shoves him down. He takes a bump, non-wrestler. It's believable. Moxley, then, I'm just trying to figure this out. Triggers. 1 Wicked Angel, 1, 2, 3. The commentators are like, what's going on? Was it a ruse by Callis? And I'm like, well, wait a minute. For it to be a fucking ruse, Moxley would have to check on Callis, who might have accidentally fallen. Right. And he gets rolled up and he sneaks over on him.
Right.
What am I missing here that's supposed to get, they ran away, and Khan obviously is right there like, what are you doing? And he'll probably be in the fucking scrum saying he booked that finish 10 minutes after that. So what I'm saying is you just had 2 different things happening. You had a match with a completely different post-match thing going on. It's supposed to make me hate Kenny Omega, and then he won clean. If anything, the other guy was trying to hurt him. He defended himself, and then he used wrestling moves to win the match. And then they run off like they cheated. What
and
the
then they
fuck
run
am
off.
I missing?
They're running away, and there's the car as they're about to jump in and get out in a show don't tell kind of way of like, let's peel out. And Marvez comes out from behind a dumpster with a microphone to be like, Kenny, why are you doing this? Like he was fucking waiting and wait. Oh, this car might be out here and they might be getting a hot getaway. I better be laying in wait. Is this a gotcha journalism to jump out and get you? Dude, it was so fucking phony and set up, like, and people are going nuts for it. I was like, wow.
Phony and set up is one thing, but there's zero sympathy. Actually, I literally was just like, Kenny's a bigger baby face at the end of the match than the beginning, and Moxley comes off as a heel, and the announcers are saying shit that doesn't even make sense. So, like, what am I? It's like putting Wizard of Oz with Pink Floyd on, and it's two totally different things going on at the same time, and are supposed to sync up. And then the Wizard of Oz and Pink Floyd actually do sync up. This didn't. Dude, it really, did I text you? I was like, that really pissed me off. Like, why the fuck did I just watch that 6 minutes? And it's 38 minutes long.
For character-wise with me, when they're making their exit, which was already like, okay, I see what you're doing. And then he walks out to interview him 10 steps from the truck. I was just like, oh, all I can think of is, I've been writing scripts for wrestling since I was 10 to 12 years old. Okay.
That was literally
a 10-year-old.
Like me playing like Fire Pro Wrestling, and randomly somebody like Don Callis comes out and what are the roses too? Like, what is that supposed to be?
So all that aside, I do got to put over, because people are like, oh, well, doesn't all of Impact's audience probably watch AEW? Yeah, 160,000, I'm sure. But that's not the point. Let's go Sun Tzu. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And if you're trying to pull WWE down, and they're already selling for AJ, even on their own TV, still being from Impact, they got that dig in like 4 weeks ago, covertly. And then there's banning the code breaker. You want to stop WWE from having productive meetings going forward where they do their little behind the scene bullshit and waste a week on nothing? These are the moves that will do that. Holy shit, Impact's working with AEW. That could be they could be over 1 million, but no, they won't be. But still, we got to sell for it. And how are we going to do this now that they've got, like, you're pulling them off of the higher ground by doing that and working with another group. And now with that, AEW could funnel not misinformation, but could do their terrorist attacks using Impact as dummy cover in the front, so it hits them and hurts them, and AEW doesn't get the repercussions from it. There's so many strategies, terrorist strategies, that AEW and Impact together can enact on WWE to hurt them in a very Rebel versus the Empire type way.
Okay, but you have another thing to think about. Remember when AWA and NWA and World Class were all trying to do that Super Clash stuff back in the day to beat Vince? Mm-hmm. And do you remember the story of that everybody was trying to sign the AWA guys, or these guys weren't happy, and this is all going on? You have to watch. Somebody's going to come on. My money is a little bit more on D'Amore and Callis, like theoretically, but money wise, this is where Impact could be fleeced as well. And somebody's enemy is my friend, until, like, you realize that, well, you're my enemy though. I got to do this too. There's too much fuckery that's going to be involved. It's the business. If the business was run like a business, most people wouldn't be in business. They make the same mistakes all the time, the same carny mistakes. There's something's going to happen. Somebody's going to be unhappy. Somebody's going to say, we have a way to get over on this company to give us more shine or more money, or we can get this talent out of Impact and say they're just on loan, but then we'll figure, dude, the Vince has nothing to worry about.
Well, there was rumor that Impact wanted to sell.
That's the smartest move right there. And then hopefully they'll have jobs. Here's what I think. You guys are working together. Now's the time to go to Monday nights. Now go to Monday nights.
Yep. I think so too, man. And I would even put AEW Dark on Wednesday to go against You know, if you acquired all those guys, why not?
I would, or if you buy Impact, then Impact's on Wednesday nights up against NXT.
I like that. I like it. But yeah, there's a lot dream booking there that people are already putting out, but
they're going to dream of fucking each other over too. Trust me.
Oh yeah. Well, once the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and you take down the Empire, that means you become the new Empire, and you have to turn and either envelop those people and bring them into your fold, or they're now your enemy again, like you said, and you have to cut them off and go forward, young man, based on what you did. But we'll see, man. It's an interesting development with Callis there. And guys will be politicking, whether it's Good Brothers. I'm sure Khan would want Sami Callihan. He'd want a couple others that way. And I'm pumped for guys like Rohit Raju in the North and those guys who've been working their ass off to now get even more spotlight. I think if you want to talk about opposite of that Omega match, I'll put it over again. Rohit Raju and Crazy Steve for the X Division title was as old school and great. It was the best wrestling match of the week, hands down. And then Rohit gets him in the Brett on Bulldog pin, hands on the rope, 1, 2, 3. Heat, and he goes out that way, dude.
But no fans. See,
no.
At least AEW has 1,000 fans in the stadium. It's
the finish was better. It was still.
I saw it. I saw the finish. I watched it on Steve's Instagram.
Okay.
Finish was better. There's still a dystopian type of disconnect with no fans. It just doesn't play to me.
Yeah,
and nobody can find Impact half the time, and it's the best show nobody's watching. So this is a good move for them for now. What I enter as a talent, here's what I'm thinking of Sami Callihan. And Dreamer's going to be on the show probably next week. Trust me, Dreamer's going to get himself on the show. And they'd be stupid not to have him on there because you have an ECW crowd who might watch it now. How will the talent react when they're getting paid? I'm not saying Sammy is, but what if a talent like, say, the X Division guy or Crazy Steve's only getting $250 a night, $300 a night, or whatever they're getting, and they get to work on AEW knowing that Serena or anybody else is making, a full-time living, and they're going to want to go to AEW because Impact's always going to Impact.
Sure.
How would you feel as a talent if you're going to Impact and they keep loaning you out, but you're still got the rate of $300 a night or $500 a week or whatever it might be? Hey, Moose is supposedly making $150,000 a year. I'd be like, we need to get this guy as much exposure as possible. Right. I'd be pushing the high price talent first to try to get on that. And is anything I'm saying wrong with this? As a talent, you're looking at guys over there making 6 figures minimum, working once a week. You're there going to Nashville, working multiple TV tapings in one day or 2 days or whatever, busting your ass and maybe not getting paid per match, but per day. And like, my God, maybe $600, $500 to kill myself in front of no people. And somebody's getting $90,000 or $100,000 to work once a week live. That's I'd rather work there.
Yeah, Frank Spicklebarrel asked, does AEW pay better than NXT? Well, it kind of depends. I mean, if you're developmental, you're about $750 a week at NXT, but you're also, maybe not during pandemic times, you're working 4 and 5 days a week. You're training 2 days, you're on the road 2 days, and then you're doing TV. So granted, it might all be in that Florida territory. AEW, you live where you want. They fly you in or you drive in, and then you work 1 day a week. So
you get to go to free Jaguars games all the time.
So like, I guess maybe I think he is paying around that $750 for full-time people that would be at that NXT level. I think Khan is overpaying him. I saw him even make a statement saying, yeah, I know we're losing money, and it was during the time of COVID, and I wanted to make sure the boys were taken care of. So we cut people on that maybe should have been cut, and we're doing it. Like, to me, that's like, we've had these conversations, and there's a lot of people who get chopped. How much money can we lose? How much blood can we let out here? But now this is the opposite of that, especially when you're signing. I got a feeling Sting's making more than $750 a week, along with other guys that they're about to go in and bring more talent in. And what's that going to mean? Because if they want to cherry pick Sammy Callahan, Rohit Raju, Susie, Havoc, and somebody else. Well, guess what? That's spots that got to go on the roster. So who's it going to be? So all this buddy stuff, at the end of the day, the boys are like, well, I'll angle to get in AEW for a contract because I've only been on Impact on a pay performance basis where, oh, there's a 5-week taping coming up. Yeah, we need you for those. And you're going to be on 4 of those. So we'll pay you your $250, $300 for 4 of them. So $1,200. We can't sign you to a contract right now. We only have 160,000 viewers. But we're going to meet with them. Oh, okay. So they'll bring you along for the ride. And then can you politic with Jericho? Is your boy on the AEW roster? Can Taz do whatever for you? Like all these little things are going to happen behind the scenes of guys wanting a $100,000 deal as opposed to a $1,200. We'll see if your business carries over to the next set of tapings.
Well, I would, if I were Khan, see, he stands in front of people with the scrum, just like the union, just like the other stuff, PR wise. You're losing money during a pandemic. This would be this year's mission statement on how to treat your talent. I would have gone out there and did press releases after Vince let hundreds of people go because of COVID. And I would have said, we are not doing that. You got to fire a shot. Vince, and say Vince is a billionaire. AEW has $100 million budget right now. We have less money to spend, but we understand the times and we're going to try to take care of our roster the best way we can. We don't let people go when times are tough.
Mm-hmm.
We keep them. Shame on you, Vince McMahon and WWE. Dude, right there, hit them. What is wrong? They've missed so many opportunities to really change the business and destroy WWE. That the old untouchables, tax evasion thing. Hey, we have a union here. I don't know why Vince can't do it and just let it go.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that fully. One thing they did do to take a shot, and we saw it last week where Sting's merch got pulled. So this kind of foreshadowed it. We talked about it. But AEW's statement on Sting signing a full-time contract, Tony Khan comments, and then Backstage on how AEW plans to use Sting. The Icon Sting showed up last night, face off with Darby Allin on a run-in save after the heels from FTW crew, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, and Hobbs attacked Arn Anderson, Dustin Rhodes, Cody, and Darby Allin. Lights out, lights up, starts to snow inside the arena because it's 40 degrees in Florida. And Stinger comes out and then faces off after pulling out a baseball bat. Then before the show's even over, they say, or the segment's even over, Tony Khan's telling me that he signed Sting to a multi-year deal and putting it over and whatnot. I'm going, oh, great. Cannot wait for more Sting. And then next week, Sting will speak and give his statement. So we're going to have Sting talking next week. We're not going to do 6 weeks of what will Sting say? Why is he here? What's his MO? Next week, Sting's going to do the town hall address here. I'll let you go, and then I'll come back and bury Sting.
Will we see Hulk Hogan?
The Observer said that AEW will be careful with 61-year-old Sting and that he, quote, he won't be taking any bumps despite his use of regular character on TV. In that event, Sting does perform any kind of physical stuff. It'll be done with the utmost precaution, added Meltzer. But we can
bump protocol.
Yeah, let's bump Vicky Guerrero on the outside as well, but we'll protect Sting.
They bumped Vicky Guerrero on the outside
3-4 weeks ago. It was the last full gear. I think it was Nyla Rose versus Sheeta on the outside. Duck one. Nyla fucking bumps her own manager out of nowhere. No big. They're just like, are you fucking complete retards? Yes, you are. Okay. For those who don't know, you don't bump Vicky Guerrero.
Well, now they know. And Khan rung the bell, and Khan did me, I, me, my.
Only one way to learn, by doing it absolutely wrong. And that's what they do over and over again. Fuck it, I'll come back in. Same old shit. Sting couldn't do shit in WCW to help them beat WWE. Granted, I put over a legacy career with monumental matches, all of which I thought sucked. Pretty much, to me, as coming up as a fan, a knockoff C version of the Ultimate Warrior, who does Ric Flair's woo, stole Bret Hart's offensive package, and then when that wasn't getting over, as a surfer boy, like short bus version of Legion of Doom, he then stole the Crow, and that was the best thing he did, because we didn't have to hear him, see him, and he could just sit in the rafters and look menacing. And then once he would come back down, the bell would ring and we would get another performance that was as unmemorable as anything else, with the worst splashes in the corner that never looked like they hurt anybody, but we had to believe it. And then he'd come out and do another Ric Flair call. Then he goes to WWE. Name me one great WWE Sting match. Okay, so there aren't any. And now,
hold on a second.
Now he's back to get another $1 million. Now he's back to get another $1 million out of Khan, so he can get.
Whoa, just $1 million? What are you talking about?
Out of TNT, he'll probably get another $1 million, so he can sit there and go face to face with Darby Allin, so we can make it look like it's a torch pass from guys who. One, now this other guy can't get over without throwing his body off of a 4-story building and painting half of his face, because he looks like any pizza delivery boy that would be showing up from Domino's at your front door. That's where we are in trying to get Darby over with Sting, which is about 3 months late from where I started calling it last or earlier in the fall. So now we're planning to take out WWE with the exact same plan that WCW absolutely failed with, but we're going to run down that road again, thinking that it's going to be successful, that Sting's going to take us over the edge and bring us back all of these viewers, just like Vince did too little too late and never gave us the Undertaker match. So the only way Sting is going to draw is if you can get Mark Callis on your show for $1,000 to kind of come on in, and maybe we'll get that match, Steve Borden versus Mark Callis. It'll be a great
Stinger.
I know that's a kind of a Mark rant, but that takes me back to all the late 80s and early 90s, why I loathed WCW as a C and D rated product, where people were putting it over as something incredible. Does he have legacy from standing for so many years? Absolutely. Has he been in some of the biggest pay-per-views and gotten the paydays with the biggest name? Sure. Have I enjoyed more than 2 minutes of it? Not at all.
Okay, I'm back. That's you have a nice soothing podcasting voice. I can just sit back and listen. It's like a good audiobook voice. You have a future kid. Hey, this is where I'm going to go with this. This is what I hated about this. And Sting has always done this. And you can say, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about. I would love for somebody, and this is the echo chamber of nobody pulling Sting aside and saying, hey, man, maybe you should not do this when you're trying to get this character across. And you mentioned it. He's foreboding. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't change his facial expression. He stares at everybody. And then he goes for the cheap house show pop with the scream.
Always.
Disconnected completely. And he did it more than once. So he got caught up and said, can I bring him higher? Instead of, what's he doing here? Is he going to attack Arn? Is he going to attack Cody? Is he going to attack Darby Allin? Whose side is he on? They didn't even do the classic line when Hogan, whose side is he on? And you leave it at that and you fade to black. Don't let him leave the ring. Go to commercial. Or do something where he leaves. I mean, not on the repelling thing, but maybe there's a helicopter that drops him and then brings him back up. There's the woo or whatever he did at the end was like, oh, he's excited to be back. Like it just kills it for me, right?
That is straight up Khan being a mark of the early 90s. He wants Shivani to do it's Sting and do all that shit. Okay, do all that shit. How did it work out 20 years ago? Did you come out on top? Is WCW around? Is WWE crushed? Nope. So why are you making the exact same mistakes to try and fucking win a war by doing that kind of shit? It is the worst strategies, bro. And I just can't sell for it, and I can't put it over. Is there value in having Stinger there and people will tune in? Absolutely. But it's not going to go well. It's not going to end well. And the fact of, let's talk even booking wise, what's bigger, Omega becoming the champion on a pay-per-view that's really your TV show that you brand as a pay-per-view, or Sting coming in midway through?
You got both on one show, so therefore it's half focus is pulled.
You got
50-50, and nobody gets over, and nothing's memorable.
100%. Now, both of those are epic and iconic moments that you want to feature solely. You almost want your show to be shitty beforehand, so the main event means something. Rip talks about this with having guys win with simple finishes so you can get it all in the main. Now, midway through the show, you took them to the height of the mountain. Now they got to go back down and try and reclimb it, and the mountain's never as high again. So I've been writing shows since I was 10 and 12 years old. Well, you might need a writing coach to tell you how to book a show to give your audience the complete psychological experience that wrestling is supposed to provide. Because right now, we're just marking out for big moments on our show to say, look at, we had this and he's back and that. Neither of those things mean nearly what they could have now because you did them both on one show.
Sting's value, someone had said in the chat room about his value when he does not speak, his value is the mystique and the anticipation of the payoff. The payoff is never going to be, in this day and age too, the payoff is never going to be as good as the anticipation, but you can roll together weeks and months of ratings off of mystique and anticipation. Sting could have been in one of the rafters at the end of the show, and that's all you see is the rafter shot for 10 seconds. It's like, holy shit, that's a cliffhanger. Not him coming out, doing everything, then walking away and woo woo in the ring to the crowd. It's an unpopular opinion because he's regarded as a legend. He's regarded as somebody who should be revered. But let's face it too. Khan rolled out the money mark, backed up the Brinks truck, and you talked about in the other case, sacrificing your legacy for the payday. That seems there are no more real legends. I said it before, Savage and Warrior, and even Warrior worked that thing down there with Orlando Jordan, I think in Spain or somewhere, where the match was terrible. And he kind of ruined his legacy a little bit there, got it back. But Savage would never, I mean, there's one TNA, but Savage was ultra protective. Ultimate Warrior was. Hogan at one point was, and then kind of hoard himself out too. This is the old fighter, not Mike Tyson at 54. This is the old fighter wanting to go a little bit too far for the paycheck. And as a person, and as somebody who I was friendly with at one time, and somebody who knows what it's like to have your neck screwed up, how much money is worth potentially being paralyzed? Those medical bills, that $1 million can go towards medical bills within a month. How much is enough? I
don't know. I have to see that when we get that PDF Stooge report of whatever the payout was.
It's a minimum. He's a minimum $1 million a year for limited appearances. So basically, essentially paying him more money than the mill. You know, he's not going to work 52 shows a year.
And just stand in somebody's corner, like Arn, like Jake, like Tully. Now Sting is going to stand in somebody's corner for $1 million a year and point a baseball bat at somebody.
By the way, Justin French said that I remember, I have to correct myself because Sting was a part of Overchurch.
He was.
I wasn't a part. I went to Overchurch, but I wasn't allowed to stay in Overchurch. So I'm sorry, Sting.
and like I said, those things that I might have said earlier from the fan perspective when I was living it, from a wrestling worker perspective, of the amount of money he's made and been on top of the cards and whatnot, obviously all the respect in the world for that. But for my tastes, like a C and D version of everything he's tried to emulate, from the Mythic to the Crow to Flair to Brett. to the Ultimate Warrior. And now you think this is going to be the thing that'll get people to turn the channel in. Didn't work for Impact. Didn't work for WWE when it happened. So now you're just making a decision to pop the crowd one time. And from now on, it's going to be, we're down the backside of the mountain with this. And you're just going to be paying for him to point a bat at people.
And you are going to cut younger talent now. The more this happens, younger talent is going to get cut now.
And let's go back to the beginning with Cody and him. This isn't going to be for WWE and Legends guys. This is going to be for new talent who are hungry. And
did he say that?
So good, bro. So
how's that taste? He said that, didn't it? So they're batting 1,000 on everything they promised and not delivering. There we go. And you know what? If for nothing else, we will be brought in, and Russo especially will be brought in as what they deem as the scapegoats. They can't ever blame themselves. And I'll just tell you right now, that check will be very high. You can call me a scapegoat and I can be an abject failure, but I'm not going to be standing there at 61 years old pointing a bat in the ring.
No, our crew will be called the scapegoats when me, you, and Russo show up, and Russo will have the bat. That's his gimmick. I'll have a flag and you'll look sexy. We need you to get them looking one way so we can hit them from behind with the other.
Do you think Tom would have a crush on me if we were actually in the same room?
Does.
Well, if he does, then I'll send him the email. You don't have to. Dude, I don't care. You know, hey, and you know me. I'm not saying this is inside baseball locker room talk. The thing that's different about us, and I say once again with the Russo stuff and everything, we don't bullshit and say we are going to back each other up. I have made that call for you because you deserve that opportunity. Russo has made those calls for you. And you've done it for both of us. We help each other out because it's not charity, because we know that the business needs that kind of stuff.
I agree. Now we just got to call Callis to get to Omega, I guess. We can't go through our other channels. Cena to release new book based on his tweets. Veteran WWE superstar John Cena is scheduled to release 2 new books on April 6, 2021, according to The Hollywood Reporter. The books will feature illustrations alongside uplifting and motivational thoughts adapted from Cena's Twitter feed. One book will be for children, and the other will be for all readers. Do Your Best Every Day to Do Your Best Every Day is being published by Random House Books for young readers and is aimed at ages 8 to 12. The complimentary version for all readers is called Be a Work in Progress and will be published by Ballantine. Both of these books feature illustrations with inspirational thoughts and messages that focus on values such as honesty, hard work, and self-reflection. These messages are inspired by and adapted from John Cena's Twitter feed. So kind of similar to the Rip Rogers book on professional wrestling, which were his notes from class and some of his Twitter stuff. But, you know, Cena as an inspirer and a guy who, you know, did play the game and keep maybe some bad habits under wraps behind the scenes. This another marketing genius to come out with, and probably didn't take him any work, just signed off on it and somebody's putting it together for him. So, you know, people are always looking for this inspiration, in especially dark times like this. In 2021 is always the reset. He's hitting the market right at the right time. This guy just gets it. He always gets it.
Absolutely. You know, he has a team or he has a person doing this for him. So like he has the tweets and all that stuff. And there's people within the publishing company or whoever's publishing this book are going to have a writer like Ross Williams does the ECW Press books. He writes them through interviews. And this is even easier because they can just go to his tweets and take that off of there. So it's literally recycling messages that can never, quite frankly, be recycled enough for inspiration, motivation, and positivity. Get this book out because I have a feeling heel Cena is going to show up in WWE. They're going to pull that Hogan turning heel card. That's the last one. But the thing is, there's no fucking fans in the audience. You will not get the effect of having trash thrown at you or any of these other things. I'll tell you what I would do. If you really want to fucking pull out all the guns, You got to put John Cena, you've seen it in NXT to really help the younger talent.
Mm.
You get so much value and you'll beat AEW every single week.
I heard they signed this new lucha called Hickenbottom. He's going to be awesome.
Yeah, there was a comment that I read in the chat room that said that we could possibly be able to trick Tony Khan into thinking I'm Shawn Michaels.
I think that it would work. Why not go for it at this point? I'm going to need to poke you in the eye a couple times.
No. He probably would like to poke me in the eye too. Tony Khan. I'm just gonna tweet Tony Khan one of my like lone tweets of the year and just say, call me. See what the fucking weirdest shit has happened off of that stupid stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but it wouldn't resonate nearly.
He doesn't know who I am, dude. Outside,
Dude,
he knows who I am, but that's about it.
He knows exactly who you are, Stevie. He would fanboy huge for that. Me doing it, not so much. For you doing it, he definitely, the feelers would come right back. Like through some stooge, somebody would reach out. Louis would be hitting you up right away. WWE is celebrating another social media milestone as their official YouTube channel just surpassed 70 million subscribers, where you can hear brilliant clips like Japanese. WWE issued a statement today to tout the subscriber count, noting that they rank as #1 sports channel on YouTube ahead of NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, NASCAR, and ESPN. Well, that's because you're putting out 5 shows a week and putting out clips constantly. That's the big difference.
I have another theory along with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's because nobody watches your show and they actually watch those games. Stop. Please stop.
That's a spin. That's the perfect spin on this, right? This is where, we made 120 million because we only lost 480 million last year as opposed to the 600 million we lost the year before. So it's $120 million profit. It's the WWE spin. It's the same ones where $10,000 of stock investment through firefighters, funds can turn into $39 million based on a payoff, so you're not exposed for SEC violations. So they are brilliant masters at skewing the numbers, bro. Total of 52 billion 56,468,070 video views.
And with all this great success in these licensing deals, you didn't think, hey, maybe instead of Twitch that we can get our talent on YouTube and we can get them to keep the super stickers and super chats as a thank you for providing even more content, and we will keep the AdSense revenue on it. So whatever you earn in super chats, there, I just fixed their problem in 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just telling them, give us all your Twitch money or do nothing. You didn't have option 3. Idiots.
How about this? They've got 70 million subscribers and 52 billion in video hours. That's only about 7 minutes per. No, it's about 60 minutes per subscriber is watched on your channel fully. That's not that big of a metric, bro.
How about this? You have 70 million subscribers and your shows can't break 2 million viewers. Where's the conversion rate there?
Why aren't you using that as your main push to make sure everybody tune in for Raw, like some new marketing promotion through that to get those up there?
I have another dude. They're going to land on their feet if they don't sell to Disney. I had a thought about what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to try to sign a multi-year licensing deal with YouTube TV.
That'll end horrifically.
They'll get the money. They'll get the money.
That's true. And YouTube's stupid enough to possibly do it. Who is signing up for any of those YouTube things that come up? Or
how much? They have nothing live. I mean, as far as live, like entertainment, all the shows are, you have your games and stuff like that. But what if Google bought WWE and put it on YouTube?
I think Amazon will be the one to buy them out, or else Disney.
Well, Amazon Prime is even more. Amazon Prime is even more, well, you sell a Prime membership for a year and then you get Amazon Prime. That would be something there. And but then they'd have to go and get off YouTube and go to Twitch, where they just fuck Twitch over by taking their talent off Twitch. So
but the problem is that they will be doing that because the Fox money will be up and ratings will be so down that it's not because they'll be pumped to do that. That's their next people to work for X amount $billion deal of promises of what's going on. And then they'll go to YouTube. We have 70 million subscribers. Who else does? That's more than the NHL, NBA combined, because our fans all subscribe to it. And they'll sell that line of bullshit. And then they'll make no money off that, off the revenue, or the tune-in numbers won't match it, but they'll make their money from YouTube, and then we'll be on to the next one.
They have options, even though the show's terrible, ratings are going down. The bar has been set so low that they'll just keep the same people will be keep playing money, paying money. The same people will keep making money. Mm-hmm. And the same people in the company will keep getting hired to do the same shitty jobs. It's great. I love it.
Our final story of the day, people who got jobs, new WWE Performance Center class announced with Rascals and others. The class includes Devion Aiken, who's Desmond Xavier, and Zachary Wentz, from formerly of the Impact Stars, the Rascals. Their partner, Trey Miguel, was not announced for this class, and there's no word yet if he's signed. That's fucking dismaying right there. There was talk that Miguel could end up in AEW after the group left Impact last month. We exclusively reported the group was headed to WWE last month. I think that is a huge mistake to split those three up. I think you should definitely do the stoner shit right away. Other names announced for this, and put them with Riddle if you need to. Other names announced for this class are indie star Alex Brandenburg, Alex Zane, Japanese wrestling star Sojiru Ikimen Higuchi. Former WNBA player Anriel Howard, and indie star Rust Taylor. So indie stars I've never heard of, and I've been on the indies for a minute. Jiro Kushi, whatever.
Beat that person.
Oh, dude. Twice on Sunday. Like it's just ridiculous what they look. The only one who I know that the two guys from the Rascals can go. I don't know the two other indie stars. They look like indie guys to me. Really, the only one I see with money on them, aside from the Rascals, I know what they can do, is the NBA chick. The way she's standing there, she looks like she's ready to go, model-wise and spokesperson-wise, because she's probably got that, from WNBA and whatnot. But, yeah, man, good for those kids.
How soon until she's on beating people on the track?
That she looks like a track star, exactly like
that. But that's not why they do those things, right? That's not what they're gonna do,
right?
They're not what she'll have a red Solo cup with some lean in it, and she'll don't put the wife with the Street Profits, put that girl with them.
If you ever thought Stevie Richards would know about red Solo cups with lean in it, there's nothing more I can do to ruin people's lives than fucking bring him down to that level. I think
by the way, that's been just the 2 months ago I learned.
I know. I think my work here is pretty much done, man. And this comes on the heels of another class that was just signed 2 months ago with Joe Gacy and a bunch of others in them. What are they going to do with 11 new recruits, bro? I mean, when we said it, with people coming in, that means some NXTers are going to go. You're gone. You're either going to the main roster or you're gone. So they just aren't going to take 12, 11 new people and be like, yeah, dude, we're just going to put them into the fold and maybe they'll get it. People who've been at NXT for 4 or 5 years, you're either going to the main roster or you're going to call Tony Khan or Corbin.
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Here's what they're hoping. And it's just simple business of profit margins. We have 11 people, or however many people in this class. How can we get them on TV as cheaply as possible and then get rid of the expensive talent that's not our favorites, because everybody's got favorites. Mm-hmm. And also we crush anybody with a union type of the thing that they want to do. In other words, what they can do too is with this union, this independent contractor employee thing, which by the way is dead in the water because now nobody cares about that. Everybody cares about the election, the lockdowns, all this stuff. Nobody's going to care about Selena Vega and some fucking fake wrestlers, as people put it, right? They don't care. And it's about the worst time to try to start a union. You know, you're not going to be able to do it. But if they could do something, I'm sure they thought about it. Like, okay, are we going to really make them independent contractors and take away any, like, you don't even get the performance center anymore. You don't even get this. You get nothing. You don't get any breaks. If you want to be an independent contractor, you can sleep in your car. They'll make it so tough that people will beg for any opportunity, or they'll give up, and there'll be 5 people willing to sleep in their cars and outside the performance center and be on NXT for $500 a year.
But they got Jirodu Koshirudu.
Now, did you pronounce that correctly?
I don't even know. I know there's a K and a J in there.
KO. That's what it is. God damn it. That's what he's gonna call him, dude.
It's gonna be great when he makes his debut next December 7th, and it's Pearl Harbor job. That's a Pearl Harbor job. It's Karushi Jushashido. He's back, and
that'll give you a negative attitude. I love the Gorilla Monsoons, the Monsoonisms.
You do, man. That'll give you a negative attitude. Yeah, man. Congratulations to those guys. I've enjoyed the hell out of watching the Rascals. They did great work in Impact with that 70s show stuff. Their scene work and as supporting actors was phenomenal without getting themselves over purposely. They would play true to the scene, and they would be in the moment. And I hope the other one does sign up, and I hope they don't split these guys up into make them 3 mini Ricochets, because they work well together. Let's go off of what worked. But I know even while I'm saying this, that's the exact opposite of what they're going to do, to be like, see, you weren't shit. You couldn't make it on yourself on your own. So that's how they're going to fuck it up, instead of bringing them all 3 in, changing the Rascals to the Devils or whatever the fuck you want to call them, and letting them do the same thing, because that would be way too smart and and successful. So shout out to those guys. Earn your paychecks. Stay off the B12 unless everybody tells you to do it, and work safe, please.
Don Callis, AEW screwed AEW. Hear all about it this Tuesday on Impact Wrestling on Access TV. Thanks for the income. How did Callis screw AEW? What is going on? Did I miss something? Is this a Mandela effect?
He's saying AEW screwed AEW because they didn't make Kenny the top guy out of the fucking gate. So now we're going to make him shine, and I'm his boy. Like, dude.
But nobody will see it. What I'm saying is, like, somebody said Callis screwed AEW, and that's his reply to the tweet. Right. Like, what did he do? He got pushed down on it, unless Moxley was in on it. Like, that's the only. Oh my God!
Are they taking the belt off of Mox because of the talk that Vince wants him back, give him creative control, work with Reigns is pushing for it? Is this the beginning of that? Could Mox be gone within the next 2 months?
If I were him, I would go back.
I would
with
too.
All those things and all the money, more money than you can ever guess, and rehire my wife, and all that stuff. I would, because WWE will be around a lot longer than AEW in its current form. It's running on fumes, it's running on cruise control. But when people do get the vaccination, go back to the arenas, the Saudi deal will be back in effect. There'll be everything again. The money-making machine will start to print more again.
And it's super smart for an executive vice president to not be on his own show and go on another show.
There's that.
Oh man. SOS.
They think they're rocking the wrestling world and nobody gives a fuck. They think that this is like Brett going to WCW with the belt. Right? It's not. You didn't even execute the finish correctly for me to not. I usually laugh at wrestle crap. This was wrestle crap that literally made my head hurt.
Yeah, it was cringe.
You're trying to expect me. I can't get enough. I can't say it enough. You're trying to expect me to buy a load of bullshit that I know how a match is designed. and even as a casual fan, they know how at a match is supposed to elicit emotions. Moxley provoked him twice. He retaliated with a microphone, and all the commenters, well, how did that microphone get from Callis to Omega? Oh, that plants the seed that it was a ruse. Even though now you're expecting, oh, Callis took a fake bump, but I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief that this is real. Moxley has no remorse and has no empathy for his fellow man to check on Callis and apologize and then get rolled. I'm missing the entire point. Let me correct that. They're missing the entire point, and they're skipping ahead to assume that the brainwashed audience is just going to assume that Kenny Omega is a heel and Jon Moxley deserves sympathy and Don Callis is Mr. McMahon. Fuck, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Stevie, I've been writing wrestling shows since I was 10, 12 years old.
Messiah.
Disciple. And that's church here today, Infidels.
Oh, what the fuck is going on?
Look at them. Friday.
Ghost in here, I think.
Man, yeah, that's real hazy. Here, 55 strong as we close it down on the Friday locker room, man. Thanks for you guys tuning in at home on lockdown, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, Ben Hamin YouTube channel, you guys. And like we said, you want more great content. People are loving the Raw and SmackDown review this week. A lot of fun over there on Russo's brand. So if you're not a subscriber, it's December. Get a whole month for free. Go over and check it out, Stevie. I have a good time getting Russo all wound up most of the time. So, Stevie, the wrestling's phony and the hopefully the paychecks aren't, but the reps aren't today, man. What do we got going down Stevie Richards Fitness style?
Well, I did work out, but I'll probably do some cardio later. I know you're shocked. Also, I've been talking to Force USA. I'm going out there in January, so I'm going to miss the Raw SmackDown review the first week of January, and I apologize for that, but I get to play with like 4 or 5 new pieces of equipment and also stuff they have in their little lab over there. That I like last year, I tried to break a treadmill and I was unsuccessful. So I'm going back for round 2. So it's a great opportunity to get out there. And that happens with a lot of the brands we work with. We don't get to do stuff in person enough. My dream is that you, I, and Russo, or even all of us can live somewhere in an area where we actually have a studio we go to. And now we're adding such a dynamic to that. And we're working and we have a gym in there that I can film the Hall of Conspiracy, the Hall of Russo, whatever you want to call it.
Wait till this spring. You never know what's coming next.
Yeah. Also, our wives will get tired of us. Then we'll have to have it. But StevieRichardsFitness.com. Obviously, people are being proactive by buying the programs. Force USA and Diamondback Fitness, the code is Stevie5, but also we're getting links. So you won't even have to enter the code. So if you go to my Instagram stories and my profile, and also I'll put it up on Twitter, even though I don't tweet, you can click on those links. You can go straight to the sites. You don't have to enter the code that way if you use those links. But if you forget that, try and enter the code Stevie5 at checkout, ForceUSA.com, DiamondbackFitness.com. And also I included links for in-stock products because that eliminates one more step. And you can go right to what you can choose right now, which is getting very, very much smaller with the potential lockdown coming again. Yeah. So I really appreciate everybody using the code. It's been a great opportunity to reinvest in the brand, just like your Patreon with Russo's, everybody who supports this. It's cool after all this time, as I said in the beginning, to have the freedom to be an objective, truthful, and also in a way, showing our true emotions, which could be right or wrong. Who knows? Showing our true self and what we, this is where a high level wrestling talk is at. Thank you. High risk wrestling talk sometimes, but we are finally, after a while, Russo and myself especially, are allowed to be ourselves. You've always been yourself, Ben. It's a great feeling, and we hope we can pass that along to other people that may want to do that in their walk of life and have that freedom and actually make some money at it too. It's pretty cool.
It absolutely is, man. And I'm excited to be working with Goldilocks, with Stevie Ray, with Stevie Richards, with Vince Russo, with Rip Rogers, all to develop our own individual brands with Hamin Media Group and all of this community that you guys are such a strong part of, man. We wouldn't be able to have this if it wasn't for you guys putting the word out there, bringing in more supporters and interacting, whether it's in Discord, the Facebook groups, everything we got going on with the watch-alongs, the pick'em challenges, the lifestyle of being healthier together, man. I'm excited about it. It's our own digital tribe, and Stevie, you are my tribal chief. So we're doing big things all the way through 2021. It's going to be 2020 for a lot of people. It has obviously been shit. We have thrived by pivoting and filling a void because we were set up to do so beforehand based on our labor of love project. So I'm glad that we have that foresight, and we're going to keep pushing along with you guys, and everybody's level gets raised. Every listener, every producer, every wrestler who can take some criticism and a
bit twinkling again. What's going on here, by the way?
What's that?
Is that the twinkle thing, or is that the ghost in my eyes?
It was probably ghost eyes.
Okay. God, I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's all good, man. I wanted to say thank you for all the Cyber Monday, Black Friday sales at ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin/Stevie Richards. Really humbled by that. My best year ever. So thank you for everyone who grabbed the new Culture Vulture shirt. And I saw Horseman sales, the Woo Hamin. There's plenty up there, you guys, to go check out or get on your Christmas list and make grandma buy it. Send her a link, and that'll be even funnier when she has to buy some of my shirts. So the Broasters Coffee doing well as for Vince Russo official brand that way. You want to get that. It's a great stocking stuffer for the wrestling fan on your list, or just to have every morning, supporting local business where I am taking it global. They're very pumped to be a part of the wrestling community, and they love the whole bro culture, man. So the broasterscoffee.com, official Vince Russo bro, small bag or the 5-pound bag, use the code BRO5LB to save before Christmas and the next lockdown, so you can be not having to go to the store to get coffee. You're good for a couple of months there. And Zordos olive oil as well. Cook your favorite dishes for Christmas and the holidays with Zordos olive oil, ultra premium grade, extra virgin Greek olive oil, extra virgin, just like Triple D himself from the Academy podcast. You guys, we're having a lot of fun with it all the time. Free media, hackerhamin.podbean.com. Subscribe to Hamin Media Group on YouTube as well. We're putting out exclusive extra content. Man Beast and I did a little whiskey tasting for happy hour on Monday. Had some good times with it, man. So there's all little kinds of extra content popping up all over our landscape here. But it's the Friday locker room. They beat us down, Stevie, 2 hours. I thought we were going to get out early. Son of a bitch. It's Hacker Hamin. It's Big Stevie Cool Infidels. Yeah.